Is this finally going to be a great year for Xiaomi's high-end smartphones? The 12 Pro looks to be a solid flagship with remarkable amount of improvements and upgrades, but is this enough to make you buy one? Let's inspect. Hi, welcome. Good to meet you, Michael, and we inspect fresh tech over here. Just look at it. Feels amazing, looks amazing, and this silky smooth texture on the back. So nice. Well, that's Xiaomi 12 Pro, latest and greatest coming from the Chinese company, and I need to underline that everything you're going to hear about this smartphone during this episode is based on my own personal experience on the Xiaomi 12 Pro Global version, which has mostly software differences to the Chinese edition, but I would say they are significant, and I'm going to show you why. Now, for the past 3 years, for at least a few months, I've been using a Pro model from Xiaomi's flagships for a daily driver, and I think I have a pretty good idea how much of a difference this one has as opposed to the previous generation, and so far in the past years it's been rather small steps towards the right direction. This year, I think we have some significant changes. First of all, Xiaomi are only going to release the Xiaomi 12 series as a brand, meaning that everything which is mid-range and lower end is going to be remaining for the other two brands, Redmi and Poco. Secondly, internally we do have a lot of changes. Yes, the main camera remains 50 megapixels, but Xiaomi switched to an entirely different system which is coming from Sony this time. So did this run smoothly? And how about the rest? Because here we have the controversial Snapdragon Gen 8, no, Snapdragon 8 Generation 1. We have the 120 watt ultra-fast charging on a single cell, and also the changes with MIUI 13, so there already is plenty to talk about. The price of this phone starts at $1,100, costs $50 more than the Samsung S22 Plus, which happens to be for the first time ever. So, putting aside the introductional thoughts, let us focus on the Xiaomi 12 Pro itself. Here's the unpacking part, and well, in a few moments you're gonna find out the first major advantage. Here comes some instructions, warranty terms as a starter, read them thoroughly so that you don't get disappointed in case you ever apply for a warranty repair. There's a transparent protective case. If someone from Xiaomi is interested in my humble opinion, well, such kind of case has no job right next to such a premium flagship. It's nice, it's some sort of protection, but being transparent, it's really boring and the quality not impressive at all. For the record, OnePlus have done really amazing job with packing their even mid-rangers with pretty fun and good-looking protective cases, and this even shows the rainbow colors if you bring it out during daytime. Included are a data and charging cable and the iconic 120 watt turbo charger. This unit alone costs nearly $50, charges the phone to full within less than 18 minutes, which would excuse almost any kind of battery endurance issues. The phone. Oh, the phone. You know, when you see the renders and the images of a new device, sometimes you're gonna feel like it's gonna be boring. Well, this here is quite the opposite. This is the phone with the nicest feeling in the hand that I've ever had as a daily driver. Silky smooth, something similar to OnePlus 9 Pro's back texture, but a lot softer and nicer and doesn't seem to scratch. Very well designed cuts, especially those for the speakers, which are again Harman Kardon signed. Needless to say that the sound is gonna be phenomenal. I do have a remark though, it's related to the SIM tray. Now, look carefully. In here, well, this side, this is the hole where you need to press in order to eject the SIM tray. This here is the microphone hole, which you can very easily mistake for being the SIM tray eject hole, meaning that if you press it hard enough, that most likely is going to damage the microphone, meaning that when you are maintaining the SIM cards, be extra careful. Concerning the most interesting characteristics, at a glance, it sounds spectacular. LTPO Plus AMOLED display with up to 120Hz refresh rate, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, 8 or 12GB RAM, up to 256GB storage, a new 50MP main camera, also a telephoto and ultra-wide camera, 4600 mAh battery with the brutal 120W charging, all the latest connectivity protocol standards and bunch of extras. So this is indeed premium, packs the best from the Android world and uncompromising choices for each and every component, almost. It's a 5-star design, especially the display, Dolby Vision, HDR10+, the overall experience when watching content is amazing. There's a feature that you can enable called MEMC, which can make videos to appear at higher refresh rate than they originally are, something similar to what OnePlus and other vendors are doing as well. It is not enabled by default, but quite easy to enable, and you can select apps where it's gonna be active. Additionally, when you watch videos with lower quality, they can get fair amount of treatment and improvement. Whatever component you decide to analyze, there are cutting-edge technologies and strong sides. Let me drill down to the remaining components and talk about their real-life performance. Continuing with the battery life, the endurance has been somewhere between very good and excellent. And there are two important things to note here. Firstly, about the charging. Well, we obviously can count on wired charging through this Type-C port and the 120-watt charger, which can bring this battery to full within just 18 minutes. The unique part is that here we talk about a single cell charging, unlike the way it is with the Xiaomi 11T Pro from a few months ago. Also, you can count on wireless charging, whereas it's 50-watt based and charges the phone up to full within around 40 minutes. The second interesting advancement is on the MIUI side, because finally here we have MIUI 13 based on Android 12, and I would say that standby times are remarkable. This phone virtually loses almost no power when it is in standby condition and you don't use it. And I'll give one basic example. The times for a battery cycle compared to my previous daily driver, the OnePlus 9 Pro, are at least 20 to 30% better in favor of the Xiaomi 12 Pro. Performance-wise, Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, well, there have been very mixed signals about it. I saw a few early reviews of the Xiaomi 12 Pro, the Chinese edition, and it didn't perform that well. But now the global version is quite different. Throttling tests didn't show any significant troubles, and looks like the new generation of the chipset well outperforms the old one. There barely are apps that are going to keep the CPU at a max scale for too long anyways. Taking a further look, here's the dual SIM tray with waterproof rubberized add-on. We can see the infrared blaster, which is pretty nice because you can use the phone instead of most remotes at home, and of course the beautiful speaker cuts. So, lovely design, premium feeling, top materials, and some of the best characteristics of 2022 so far. Does that leave room for any criticism around the hardware? In my opinion, yes, it does. For instance, this phone is not officially IP rating certified, meaning it's not officially waterproof. Therefore, if you drop it on the pool and there's some sort of damage caused by water, it's not covered by the warranty. Not that other vendors are respecting the warranty in such cases, but that's a totally different scenario and topic. The other thing which is quite weird, this USB port, which is Type-C based and looks exactly like the charging ports of most other flagships, but this one supports USB 2.0 only. So you can't take advantage of the significantly higher bandwidth of USB 3.2, and also there is no video wired output. Okay, this time I've made you wait for the camera samples a bit longer. Well, it is a Sony-Samsung mixture. Here, Xiaomi opt for the IMX707 main image sensor by Sony. Is it good? Well, let's check it together. Mi 11 Ultra versus Xiaomi 12 Pro shows that the main camera on the Xiaomi 12 Pro is at least as good as the one on last year's flagship. Placed side by side with the OnePlus 9 Pro, the difference is pretty significant in favor of the Xiaomi-made device. Just notice the lack of details in this area. The more samples you explore, the more likely are you to agree with me that Xiaomi tends to overexpose the photos a little bit, which most people automatically assume are better photos. And even if we look at the details, this is the case indeed. We actually count on a triple camera setup, so besides the main sensor, we also have two other 50-megapixel sensors, the ultra-wide and the 2x zoom telephoto lens. For the ultra-wide camera, I can only say good things, except for the fact it is not optically stabilized, but for such ultra-wide-angle lenses, it's anyways not a must. The telephoto, it's also great. Optical image stabilization is in place, and you nicely have a software zoom slider, up to 20 times zoom, but it's rather useless. The 10 times zoom converts into a 5 times software zoom of the telephoto camera, so it's bearable, but not as good as the real optical zoom in other phones. In that regard, I really enjoyed the 5-time optical zoom with Mi 11 Ultra, and here maybe Samsung has the lead with their awesome 10 times zoom in the lens of the S22 Ultra. Assessing the low light photos and also taking a look at the video performance, I could summarize the camera like that: class-leading main camera performance, excellent ultra-wide-angle sensor, and very good telephoto camera. You really need to pay attention to these 3 new options: the motion tracking, which locks the focus and follows an object or a person, the ultra night photo mode, which is a wow, and the ultra night video mode. So I'm walking here, trying out the front camera of the Xiaomi 12 Pro, and I'm still a little bit stunned because I've just discovered there is no macro mode, no dedicated macro mode on the Xiaomi 12 Pro, which is about the same weaknesses we discovered with the Mi 11 Pro and the Mi 11 Ultra from last year. But anyhow, focusing here on the front camera and the audio qualities, what do you think? Good, bad? Comment below. If you switch to the telephoto camera and use the AI option, you're gonna get good enough macro mode results. Hopefully, Xiaomi are going to figure that out and bring it in as a feature, because it works quite well given the fact that the lens has optical stabilization. The MIUI camera app remains fluid, well organized, with a lot of creative features, more than enough for most people, and I can totally recommend it. The Pro Video mode is fascinating, with the only remark that 24 frames per second is only possible in 8K recordings. Since we already are on the software side, let me share more of my observations. This is the first time I felt Xiaomi made Flagship as a truly premium smartphone. During the setup, the Android is so smooth, you're going to love it. MIUI 13 is the latest software piece from the Chinese company, and the skin runs on top of Android 12 underneath. From what I can say so far, it's rather bug-free, super stable, super smooth. The animations that I've always criticized are finally on par, maybe even better than other flagships. I think finally Xiaomi have achieved a point where they offer smoother than the iPhone experience, and it was even better than the other popular for its smoothness brand, OnePlus. I really am delighted with the operating system because it finally behaves the right way. There still are tons of customizations and still some bloatware, most of which you can uninstall. Xiaomi pack the Facebook app as a system app, there is the Amazon Shopping app and a few others, but it is almost nothing compared to what we can find on Redmi or even worse on Poco phones, for instance. No ads on the operating system level, it has always been among the most stable skins, and now it's finally among the smoothest. So let's hope Xiaomi are going to keep the positive trend in the next months, and they're going to provide more and frequent updates. As usual, I want to show you my list with the drawbacks before giving the phone a rating. The weird USB 2.0 implementation, the lack of telephoto camera with greater zoom, and the modest for 2022 4600 mAh battery. Oh, and the 2 basic original case. But in the end, this smartphone is better than any other 2021 flagship, and so far better than most 2022 flagships. Easily better than Galaxy S22, better than S22 Plus. I would say if we exclude the USB thing and the lack of a telephoto camera with greater zoom, yeah, in many ways it's better than Galaxy S22 Ultra as well. As for the pricing, I have my special opinion about pricing of flagships for the past few years because I really do believe they have gone kind of crazy. Well, that's been everything about Xiaomi 12 Pro global version at the first sight after a few weeks of testing on my end as a daily driver. So if you do happen to have more questions or some follow-up topics, please shoot in the comments down below. I plan to use it as a daily driver for the next few weeks or months. So yeah, if you want to get to know something else, I think I'll be helpful. Well, thanks for being on my channel today and watching this video about the global edition of Xiaomi 12 Pro. Hopefully useful and enjoyable, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye!